Just one big joke. It's a fucked up world. Here we are in. I ain't going nowhere.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Reborn, episode 57. I promise you'll see this episode. 56 is there too. I promise. So, first of all, let me introduce my co-host, Cardiacsumo, the Pokemon master of the state of Florida. How are you doing, sir?
Doing all right, man. What's up?
And I must shame myself now because if you're wondering why there are 2 episodes this week, because I actually forgot to upload last week's episode. It's all been ready and done at the time of this recording, and I was just like, hey, something's missing on this page. And then, sure enough, my dumbass didn't upload it. So you get 2 episodes this week, people. Just remember that shit I talked about in the last episode was last week, although it wasn't a based on current events, so that episode still works. So smart. I was smart. See, I projected to my past self to do something that wasn't topical because I knew that I was gonna make a dumbass move. So outfox myself.
I would think the proper thing to do would be to not make a dumbass move, but here we are.
Look, we don't have time for details and conjecture, sir.
I'm just saying
we can suss out those details later.
I'm just saying that you're essentially the Vince McMahon of podcasts. That's all I'm saying.
So I just stumble fucked myself into success and then call myself a genius. Okay.
Pretty much.
All right, I guess I'll take it. I mean, it works for Vince. He gets over with it.
He is rich, so.
Yeah, almost $1 billion. I hope I get that stupidly lucky. My lifetime. Anyway, so it's a lot of Trump stuff, people. So apologies. We've kind of sheltered you from as much Trump as possible since this is the holiday season. We did a good job, I think, but there's only so much you can do to hold that man back because he will not let himself not be in the league. So, first we have Trump is concerned about being impeached. Well, here's a shock, ladies and gentlemen, because of the things that have been going on with the Russian investigation, in particular with Michael Cohen. If you don't know, Michael Cohen had came out and specifically testified that he was instructed by Donald Trump to make payments to those women in order to make sure that they don't use their news against his campaign, what they know about their relationships against their campaign. So he said that in the New York federal court, and the state of New York is going to be prosecuting him, and the federal government's going to be prosecuting him. By the way, they want to put that man in for as many years as possible, which, dear God, I thought when you snitched, you were supposed to get a break, but apparently whatever he did beyond that must be so big that even snitching don't help. So,
I mean, I guess I just assumed he was just going to get off scot-free with whatever he gave them. Not the case.
Yeah, I figured he'd get some time. I wasn't saying he was going to get the Papadopoulos deal. But, he'd get a couple of years and stuff like that, probably disbarred, things like that. They were like, nah, we want full fucking prosecution for this man. So, hit him with everything you got. I'm like, aw.
So was him helping them not worth anything?
I think to him it seems to be, because he doesn't seem like, I haven't publicly seen him rebuke it or his lawyers rebuke it. I think he's kind of, I don't know. Michael Cohen strikes me as a guy who got fed up to the point where once he got caught for all the other stuff he did, he was like, you know what? If I'm going to go down, somebody's coming with me. And I've taken this man's shit for so many years that, why not? I really feel like it's just him doing an act of petty. Because I'm curious to know if there's any other clients that are in the mix involved in this whole situation. So I really, really feel like he's just basically taking down everybody around him if he's got to go. And Trump, being who Trump is, you know, it's just the like highlight of the matter, you know. So
well, it's worth it to him. Why not? But yes, he is apparently afraid of this impeachment thing, and I started seeing headlines like that over the last couple of days, and I just thought to myself, like, was he not afraid of this before? I mean, he knew what he did, so I would think he should have always been concerned about the possibility of impeachment.
my thing is, why now are you all of a sudden just because of that Cohen thing, though? Which makes me think that he made some type of huge mistake, like maybe he lied when he did the written question thing or something like that, because that would be impeachable, you know, lying in front of the federal government about particular cases revolving the campaign. That would be impeachable. It was like, what is it? Because as it stands now, the Mueller investigation, while we're getting all these juicy tidbits and things like that, all these people being indicted and all these papers being filed, whatnot, there's still no like smoking gun, so to speak, that shows his fingerprints on it. It's like everybody around him, surrounding him, and in contact with him, but nothing necessarily pointing to him.
But we heard a recording months ago that pretty much told us he knew about these payments. And
yeah, no, that's the thing. Like the Cohen thing, I'm not saying the like payments with the Cohen thing. I'm talking about like with the Russia, like the girl.
Oh yeah, we don't have anything like concrete there. I don't know if the fact that Maria Butina is supposedly cooperating might give us anything now, but sure. I guess my point was just that I don't understand this sudden concern when a lot of this stuff that we're talking about, we've all known for like a year, essentially.
Right.
And him, of all people, definitely knew. So maybe he's just too used to getting away with things in his regular life. And it's finally, after all these months, starting to sink in that he could actually get in trouble for once.
Yeah, like he may actually face jail because... And that's the thing. He should have thought about a lot of this stuff before he even ran for president, because this ain't business. You can't go to bankruptcy court and just like, okay, you got me. Oh, I didn't pay my taxes here. Let's like make a deal. You know, it's not that. It's not a business situation. This is like, you know, stuff that is possibly considered treasonous to your country. This is like stuff they used to shoot people up against walls for back in the day.
Sure.
You know, so it just goes to show like just more of like the problem that is Trump and why we need to steer everybody from this whole idea that anybody can be president. It doesn't take someone qualified because, okay, you don't want them to be a career politician. Okay, shouldn't you have it so that person has some knowledge as to how government and law works? Because you got somebody who never really worked within the law within his life as your president, trying to dictate policy. That's not a good look. It really isn't.
Yeah, it's I shouldn't laugh. It's just weirdly amusing that you have to say this out loud.
Yeah, like it shouldn't be that hard to decipher, but it really seems to be so for a lot of people. It's like the other night I'm on Twitter and I see somebody I know retweet something Candace Owens says about and this seems to be her like Ocasio-Cortez seems to be like the favorite like target for Republicans now, because God bless her, while she's very passionate, she isn't necessarily completely good with the like literal part of law. It's not that she doesn't understand law at all. It's just that you can tell like there's certain things that she's not completely 100% sure on when she speaks sometimes, which is, she's 28. She isn't a like political science like master's person. Like she's not someone who was bred to be in politics like Paul Ryan was when he was 28 and he made it.
If she does have a strong understanding of it, I would say she has trouble communicating.
Yeah,
that
and that's the thing. I think that's better. Yeah, she seems to not be able to communicate it. So they try to like focus on her and talk about how like ignorant she is. So Candace Owens says something when Ocasio-Cortez made a tweet about how I think it was a senator or a representative may be in trouble. Like, she made a comment about like, we won't something to the effect that we'll just have to see whether or not this is going to get you in trouble, basically. And Candace Owens' reaction was like, are you threatening him? And everybody was like, oh, so now we're threatening people? It's like, if you actually read the tweet, and I need to find it, it was nothing close to what a threat was. But because she didn't necessarily say it in a, like, I guess, friendly manner, they took it and ran with it as if it was a threat. And it just got to a ridiculous level. And it's like, I had to respond back to Candace Owens because I'm like, no, we can't listen to people like you, because people like you like to take advantage of people's ignorance of ignorance of politics and misconstrue, the way that people use words. They like to take things out of context. And I'll send you the tweet now, but that's my part. You can skip my shit and go to her.
Oh, sure.
But it was like, it was totally misconstrued what she was saying, because by no means did she threaten anybody. And let me go to it.
So as I go through this, I will say that one thing that concerns me is Candace Owens is viewed as like this intellectual peak in some circles, and I never quite understand that. She's just, I don't want to be rude, but she's essentially just a troll like anybody else.
Yeah,
like,
she's the opportunist would be the polite way of saying it, because she's basically just like fucking y'all brains just to get a paycheck.
I've never heard her say anything particularly profound or interesting, so I never understand this intrigue people have with her. She says things with a very condescending attitude day and night. I mean, like I said, she's just an internet troll like anybody else.
And God bless Ocasio-Cortez, because she actually followed up her tweet with the subtweet saying, for all the GOP crying that this is a threat, I don't have the power to subpoena anybody. But everybody took it and said, oh, she's trying to subpoena someone. No. And it was all over like meme that Donald Trump sent to troll her. And she sent back, like he put out a troll trolling her, implying socialist eats dogs, which is a double blow. One, it's disrespectful to saying that that's what socialists eat. Two, it has been a misconstrued concept used of people of color. Maybe not necessarily Hispanic people, but it definitely has been in Asian culture. So was he trying to make a joke that she eats dogs because she's Spanish or something, or because she's like an immigrant? Like like this is me misconstruing things right there. I'm not saying that's what he's doing, but this is how her whole comment gets messed up. You know what I mean? Because all she said was, I have noticed that Junior here has a habit of posting nonsense about me whenever the Mueller investigation heats up. Please keep it coming, Junior. It's definitely a very, very large brain idea to troll a member of a body that will have subpoena power in a month. Have fun. She didn't threaten him.
Yeah, I've read them both now, and this is my point. Candace Owens is. I'm trying to figure out how to say this. She's either stupid or she's just intellectually disingenuous all the time. I mean, obviously it wasn't
I opt for the second.
because the part of the quote I'm focusing on is, did a member-elect of Congress just threaten a private citizen with a subpoena over a meme? Even if it was a threat, obviously you wouldn't be able to do that over a meme.
No.
Nor would that have been her motive.
Yeah, and it's like you would think that as someone who's supposed to be an intellectual, she knows she has no power. So if she was going to come back, she was like, good thing for us that you don't have the power to do such things if this is a threat. That would have been a better line instead of saying that, oh, she's threatening, because now you get your people stupid enough to follow her stupid logic to think, oh my God, the liberals are going to like try to like subpoena everybody. No, it don't work that way.
All that fear mongering she just did just makes me wonder if she can read. Essentially,
yeah, exactly. That's what I really wanted to say back to her. I really wanted to say, can y'all read? Are you sure that you are like capable of even tweeting? Is somebody tweeting this for you?
That's a general tactic with those people. They try to make all the progressive people look like they're crazy or irrational or that they're a liberal mob, like, or that they're always what's the word? Biased or hypocritical. They have this fun little toolkit they like to use, and that's one of them is like make them look like they're out of control, drunk on power, a liberal mob, like I said. And it just looks stupid if you pay any attention. But I bet if I were to scroll down on Candace Owens' thing, there'd be a bunch of tweets in agreement with her.
Oh, 100%. Because, and that's the thing, it's so easy to get that, especially from that side of things, the irrational, illogical side. Because, as I said in my thing, you're taking advantage of people who are too lazy enough to want to try to understand things, or who feel like it's unnecessary because what you're saying vibes with how they feel. You know what I mean? It's like nobody's taking anything into context anymore. Nobody's actually trying to understand just what is being said. Nobody's trying to understand it, just exactly what can be done on either side. It's like no one wants to understand the details. Everybody just wants to hear what's said and take it for what they want.
Part of the problem with Candace being seen as this intellectual paragon is that her words have some level of credibility with a lot of people because she's just kind of presented as an intellectual all the time, and she presents herself like that. So when she speaks, and she can speak perfectly well, like I've seen her speak, she's a fine speaker. She can say things that sound smart, I guess. But just with her reputation with a lot of people, she's going to have a lot of clout. So they're going to be less inclined to question her because, again, they see her as somebody they can trust as an intellectual. They see her as a free thinker.
Oh my God. Please, why'd you have to say that term?
Because it's a popular term used in those circles.
It's the stupidest thing in the world. Like it's anyway, I'm not even gonna go there because I'm going to lose my mind if I go there.
But
it's an oxymoron. Thought can't be done unless it's free anyway. So how are you doing something different? No. No.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine.
I'm not as sure.
I'll get over this. This too shall pass, as they say. But yeah. So back, what were we talking about? The whole impeachment thing. Yeah. it's a weird thing to me that he's just, I don't know. I would like to see what happens with the Cohen thing if it is considered impeachable. Because I guess the big fear part is that if he's impeached, he's going to jail. Because then they can actually indict him. And that's the thing. He needs to be president for as long as possible. Because as long as he's president, he can't be indicted. And that's like being impeached isn't that bad, quote unquote. It's embarrassing. It's damaging to your legacy. Whatnot. But let's be honest, if he were impeached, he would still have been like given some of the like rights that he had, I believe. I have to check that now because I'm curious to know if like I'm 100% right on this. And anybody who knows, please fact check me. But I think he still gets some of the like post-job amenities and things like that as a former president, even if he's impeached, if he's removed from office.
True.
I think so. I might have to Google this, but you know what I mean. I'm not saying full things, but not like
sure. But it's interesting to know that he would get anything.
Yeah, like I don't think he'll get Secret Service rights and all of that stuff, but I think he would still end up getting some of his check. Maybe I have to find that out because if that's true, that's fucked up. It's like even if we get rid of this guy, we got to pay him. God damn it.
Pay this dude for the rest of our fucking lives.
Yeah, well, the rest of his lives, which I guess will be about 5 years, because he'll dominate himself to death eventually. So,
I do have a question about that, but real quick on the Cortez thing, because you had mentioned that she is like a favorite punching bag nowadays on the right. And part of the reason is the way that she presents information. I also think we have to acknowledge that I don't want to just call it racism or sexism, but part of it is in that realm where visually
you forgot one ism, sir. Classism. Because she even points it out herself, and I agree. A lot of people who remember when she first came to Washington, she made the comments about how like she can't even afford her apartment right now. She has to figure out where she's going to stay because she doesn't have enough money until she gets like actually sworn and paid. A lot of people clowned her for that, and it's like, yo, she says it all the time. Like people talk about the way I talk, about where I'm from, how I dress, all that stuff. It's like they all just pile up on me for that, you know, for some. Sure. So yeah,
and part of that feeds into the sexism too. This obsession with what women are wearing all the time.
Mm-hmm. It's like, yo, this girl washing dishes a few years ago. She bust her ass to get to college. She studied, you know. She started her campaign with little next to nothing. She worked her way. She literally is like the American dream. She worked her way from the lowest of the low class. Like her whole intent was just to make sure that she could take care of her family. And it went on to be more than that. And she made it.
Sure. I mean, assuming you're eligible, anybody is supposed to be able to run and win. That is why we have a President Trump. So if you're going to accept him as president, you don't get to bitch about this.
Exactly. Bro. Just like real brief, the whole thing with Kellyanne Conway apparently making comments about how like she doesn't seem to know much of anything. Bitch, tell me what your president knows about law. What does he know? How are you going to call her out for having deficiencies in policy when this man doesn't even know that he can't make a vote without Congress in session? He can't.
Like the number of times where he's gone on TV and said some shit, and then everybody in the country had to be like, "But you can't do that."
Yeah,
and it's like, did he not know he couldn't do that before he said? Like, he does that shit all the time, so there's no way you should run your mouth about this.
Way too much.
This woman.
Way too much.
I think people like Candace Owen and people on the right in general, when they think of liberals, they think of people who just embrace, they just love women and people of color and blah blah blah. And as a woman of color, of a I don't know how to say this. I was about to say lower class, but that feels weird. You know what I mean? Somebody who wasn't rich before, right?
Oh, who came from like lower means, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
So woman of color plus all that. She's like the perfect image for what progressivism is looking like. You know, this more diversity thing that liberals are always pushing. So I think part of the reason she's such a big punching bag is because she is just the epitome of everything liberals have been pushing for like the last 10 years or longer in general. But you know what I mean? Like everything the liberals always talk about, she's all that combined. Like if she was also gay on top of it, she would
Oh my God. Yo.
She would be the right's worst fucking nightmare, right? So
She'd be their worst nightmare / gift as far as like target. Because they just seem to love to like fucking punish her anytime she opens her mouth, anytime she does anything. I swear to God, I feel like if she like said excuse me, someone would be like, that's not the proper way to beg pardon.
Right. Plus, I say all that, it's also partially liberal people's fault because they have been championing her a lot. Maybe more so than they should, because you could criticize the way she communicates this shit. Like, you know, I'm not saying the way Candace does that is correct, but I mean, we've done it. We've criticized the way that she addresses issues like paying for all this stuff that she says she wants to do, right? You can do that. So you could argue that maybe the left has been championing her too much because she became a political rock star like overnight. The part of the reason the right focuses on her so much is because a lot of the people on the left love her so much.
Yeah, no, I honestly, all they're doing is just galvanizing her stature. Because the thing is, she's the most relatable person. Like all the accomplishments that we have and all the different things that we have had over this past year that have been triumphs in the midterm elections, as far as like the number of women, different women of different background and different people of different background being elected and things like that. She's now the firebrand because the thing is, she's the most relatable. She is the most like, it could be me or you type personality right now in Congress. Like nothing about her makeup speaks of like she, you know, speaks of anything different than what we've heard from people that we know. You know what I mean? She is that person. Again, she was that girl washing dishes in the kitchen for a living. She's that person who worked trying to pay bills and stuff like that. Like her whole story is totally relatable. And now she finally got something. She's just trying to get where everybody else trying to get and make things better. You know, she's that relatable person. And the more that you keep stepping on that relatable person, the more you're making the populace who relate to her, people in general, not just Democrats, either. Because she relates to general America, you know, you're making her more popular and you will push her to a point where she may end up being president one day because, you know, hey, in 7 years, she's still around. She got a chance.
I'm a terrible person. I was about to say, I hope she wins the presidency and then comes out as a lesbian.
That would be actually dope, though. I mean, that's not being terrible. That's being like, that's great. Like, I would love for her to do that.
But I only want to do it to.
And here's my first lady, and everybody go. Oh!
That's the thing. I mostly just wanted to like stick it to all those whiny people on the right. So I don't want it for the right reasons. I'll put it that way.
No, I mean. But it would be a cool moment. That would be an awesome thing to see, just like out of nowhere, bam.
I mean, that would be a hell of a counter swing after the Trump era. And speaking of that, I just wanted to say that a little aside about Cortez. But on the impeachment thing, I think the question there is, should we impeach him? Because I know Comey had that little, I don't know what it was, an interview or something the other day where they asked him, and I think he said no. And if I think he had the same kind of concern that I have had, where it feels like if you impeach him, it's inherently going to look more political than it really is.
Yeah, I mean, but that's why his spin has been kind of, in a way, brilliant. And it works because, again, the appealing to people who don't give enough consideration to paying attention to details and learning exactly what's going on. He's put it in a place where, especially for them, all it's going to look like, all it looks like now, and all it's ever going to look like is you're just trying to get at him because you just don't like him. He has sown a good enough picture for a good amount of the country to carry that narrative. So it's like, even though legally speaking, this dude's a fucking like criminal, he has made the narrative to where he's a sympathetic criminal. He's Robin Hood himself somehow into where it's all just going to look like liberals are just trying to be mean.
Right. And
even though the law says otherwise.
Sure. And to be clear, I'm certainly not saying that we should not impeach him. It's just that there are things about doing that really concern me. Like, it's not just that he's made himself sympathetic. It's, look at it from the standpoint of all those people who voted for him. They feel they've cast themselves as like these downtrodden people that the mainstream liberal media elite group have been stepping on all these years, and they feel like they finally got their guy in there. So if we impeach him, it's like, after all the work they did to put him in there, we just kicked him out anyway. It's going to really reinforce this idea they have that there is this elitism in the country that's constantly stamping down on them, even when it seems like they succeeded for a few minutes. Bam, we knock them right back down again. It's in a comfortable, I think, social place to be. And again, a lot of that has been because of what you said, the way he's been, spinning this shit around so much in his favor. But I think it was always going to be a problem even before he did that, because the people who vote for him feel this way. I don't think a lot of it is justified, but they do feel like, I don't know the term I'm looking for, is like the underdog in this story that are constantly getting shit on by the powerful liberal elite.
Yeah. No, he's definitely made himself out as just champion of the, I don't know what to call him. I can't say the downtrodden, because that's the thing. It's not like he's even. That's the thing that weirds me out the most. It's not like he's just like this champion of the little people, because just about everything he's done policy-wise is shat on everybody little. When you think about it.
I mean, he talks about himself as though he's championing them. His actions never actually do anything in their favor, but he at least refers to them. I don't know what's getting their rocks off there, but he's saying the right things to them, I guess. and then I just have more long-term concerns about that shit, where it's like, I don't want the country to think that impeachment is normal and we can just do this to anybody we don't like. When we have our Cortez as president who comes out as a lesbian, I don't want the right to just start trying to impeach her because that's just what we do now. And likewise the other way around. Like, when we have a leader, a president who's more right-leaning, assuming he or she, assuming they're not crazy or doing something illegal, I don't want us to start trying to impeach them just because impeachment is the way you handle problems now.
All right. Although, as an aside, isn't that what they did to Clinton? When you think about it,
and they shouldn't have done that.
Which is the funniest thing. It's like they keep trying to throw this narrative. And I wish people would point that out more often too. I'm glad I thought about that, because they keep talking about like, oh, they're just doing it because this is the liberals being crazy, power mad. They just don't like him. It's like he's a criminal. Whereas with Clinton, he was a fucked up individual for what he did to his wife, but he didn't commit any, like, at least to me, impeachable acts.
I mean, it was immoral, but it
was like
one wasn't illegal, and two,
immoral. Yeah, it's like, no, I don't excuse what he did.
It was not really a threat to the country in any particular way.
No.
And it didn't really defraud the American people in any meaningful way either. So it was immoral in a way that's not really relevant to the larger context.
Yeah.
It was only really relevant in his personal life. So that's the reason I generally say that they shouldn't have been trying to impeach him for that. But I mean, yeah, it is good of you to point it out that yes, they did that. I don't want to become them, I guess. Or I don't want that to be the norm. So
no. It's really, really crazy. Another thing I found out too about this during the looking up all this impeachment stuff when I saw that article was how a lot of people were trying to take shots at Obama, including the president, where he tweeted out like Obama did this and no one tried to impeach him, basically. For those who don't know, the Barack Obama campaign got fined for
I think they missed the deadline
fund management.
Yeah.
Basically, they had generated what? Oh my God,
$1
million in this campaign or something like that. And they forgot to submit some paperwork. So they were fined for not submitting the proper paperwork or not submitting it on time. Something like that. Which is to say, no, this is a lot different than making payments for a campaign to quiet people and then not actually filing on it. This is you using campaign funding to take care of your dirty laundry.
I've noticed I think it was Don Lemon who he just kind of went off on this, and I'm like, why does he have to say this shit out loud? Like, it's not obvious. I mean, yes, it's obviously not like what the Obama campaign did. You can just see as like an honest mistake. I mean, I think we've all done some shit where like we fucked up on some paperwork and had to pay a few dollars in our case. Like it wasn't that big a deal, and it's not even that abnormal, to be honest.
No.
But
especially when you're something that big, something that grandiose, especially Obama. Oh my God, his first campaign, especially. Jesus Christ, no one saw that shit coming. That was a whirlwind.
Right. You certainly can't compare that to purposely trying to silence porn stars, building up shell companies to do it, paying off the what's that company called, National Enquirer? Trying to pay them off to get rights to the story, trying to hide it all. Like it's night and fucking day. There's no intellectually honest way you could possibly be making this comparison. It's not even close to the same. False equivalencies again and again and again.
Yeah, I honestly don't get it, but hey, it makes them feel better. It seems to really, really make them feel good about themselves.
Let me ask this. We're talking about the same group of people, especially in Trump's case, who have been shit-talking Obama maybe since the day he was born. That's what it feels like at this point. And yet they're always trying to say we're doing the same thing Obama did. I thought you wanted to be better than this motherfucker. You were complaining about him for like a decade. What are you talking about?
Yeah, why are you aping the thing that you hate the most?
Why is your defense
trying to hide behind him?
Doing the same thing this incompetent asshole did? Oh my God.
Yeah, like you talk about how Obama was the worst president ever. So are you emulating the worst president ever, sir? Is that what you're saying?
At best, you're just saying you're not any better, which is a stupid defense.
Right.
But he does. This is not an isolated incident. He does this all the fucking time. He goes back
really does.
And references Obama and tries to say that Obama did the same thing. Even if it was true, and most of the time it isn't, it's not a good defense.
No, it's not. It's really not a good defense. He seems to think otherwise, sir. Look. Seems to work for him. What can I say? I don't know what to say. That is so funny, but true.
He has the weirdest case of Obama envy, where it's like he has this feeling like he has to destroy this guy's legacy, but at the same time, he kind of wants to be him when it's convenient.
Right.
There's some weird.
He did it. It was cool. Like, dude, sir. No, he didn't. That's why he got fined. Got in trouble. Ah, man. Well, moving on to more dire Trump news. The global turmoil Trump fueled is poised to haunt him as markets fluctuate. So this is a headline for CNN that speaks to the turning gloom around the world economic system, as we had some crazy shit going on in the last couple of weeks in Europe. So first you got France with the riots and the total chaos that has gone on over Macron wanting to raise taxes on oil from the Middle East as they move towards more cleaner energy sources and things like that.
Baby.
That
fix the earth.
Yeah, it's silly him. He wanted to fix the earth and wanted to make it more expensive for importing fossil fuels and things like that, and try to turn towards cleaner energy, and all that stuff went to shit because those people in France need their oil. So they rioted, and they've been going through the city of Paris, just having all sorts of protests and confrontations with the police, and apparently fucking on balconies during these confrontations, as the tweet I sent you the other day just played. Yo, who's
French shit ever?
It is the most French shit that you can think of. Like, yo, if the city is burning and you're just like, you know, on the balcony watching it while fucking. Okay.
Is it bad that I kind of wanted to go over there after I saw? I'm like, man, these people are at a party. Like, these people down here are rioting. These people are fucking. This dude's like smoking. Like,
I mean, hey,
nobody gives a fuck. It's just,
yeah.
It looks like they just know how to live.
Yeah, apparently. But it's unfortunately for the English, they have like the more traditional and sad trombone-ish experience of the Brexit fallout, as Theresa May is looking to lose the vote on Brexit and is now scrambling to see if she can reassemble the pieces of it and maybe renegotiate it to a different stature, or possibly get back into the EU, as the EU has said that they will be willing to, as long as they do it within a certain time frame, let them keep certain deals that they'd already negotiated before British leaders decide to say, fuck you, we just want to do our own thing. And it's total chaos over there, but more in a like political sense. I don't think it's reached the streets yet, which is interesting because it'll be interesting to see what the fallout to that's going to be. As yeah, the world's falling apart, people. The world's falling apart, and apparently part of it is that they're trying to say is due to Trump's attitude towards things. Now I don't blame Trump for this necessarily, but I do think that his worldview has caused a lot of upheaval across the country. Because when did the Brexit thing start? Like, I feel like the Brexit thing started sometime around like the end of 2016, early 2017.
Sure. I mean, I wouldn't say he's a cause. I'd say he's an effect of the same. I would say they're having the same kind of problem we're having
March
with
17. That's.
I mean, in the West in general, there is this rising populist sentiment, and I think Trump being elected as a result of the same kind of thing that caused, I guess, people to want to pull out of the EU.
Yeah. He's done a good job of influencing people to break deals that aren't necessarily bad, just to find ones that they feel possibly are better for themselves only.
I have a problem with it. I think him being president also made it worse.
Well, yeah.
His presence amplified the problem, so like I hated any. Certainly not any of them either.
It's a very weird thing because the world seemed pretty damn stable about 3 years ago. 3.5, 2.5 years ago, maybe.
It wasn't a giant shithole, no.
Like, I feel like there were these looming things coming down the pipeline when we had the Paris Agreement and all this stuff. And
I mean, we were on the economic upswing after the, that market crash in like 2008 or whatever.
And that's
so
the thing, is like
on the way up. Yeah.
Now with his tariffs and all of these things and all of these like countries trying to do these renegotiations with these financial things that are going off the rails, including our own. Now we're looking towards possibly a recession in the next year or so, which sucks because we're just climbing out of a hole from like 10 years ago. Well, not 10 years ago, but like 14 years ago. And now you're telling me that we're going to like just climb back down into it?
I blame the black guy.
The black guy who can't do anything except for beg us to please stop being stupid.
The one who, pretended to be an American, took over the White House.
Oh, what was
the Kenyan Muslim spy?
Yeah,
I blame him. This feels like his fault.
So maybe.
Completely unrelated. On SmackDown tonight, apparently we will have Asuka versus Charlotte, and we will have Daniel Bryan versus Mustafa Ali. I'm just saying. Anyway.
Wait, you said against who?
Mustafa Ali, dude. The heart and soul.
Are you fucking serious? They're letting... Sorry, guys. If you don't watch wrestling, if you never know who Mustafa Ali is, you have to know that this man is like ridiculous.
Got a lot of potential. I saw that on Twitter, so I turned it on. I'm like, sure enough, they're advertising it. But I just had to say that one out there.
Yo, they're having real matches in WWE now.
But as you say, we have this rioting going on in France, Brexit, and there's so much going on around the world. I don't know how Merkel's handling her stuff. I like
Merkel's handling it fine because she's about to leave, and that's the problem. Merkel's about to leave. The one stable human being in like government leadership in the world is about to leave.
I don't know where I saw this reference.
Mind you, Macron is cool. Macron is cool.
He's having his problems.
His people are just not cool.
It's weird how like in the States a lot of us love this guy, and yet he's having such turmoil over there with this.
Just because he wants to raise taxes on gas. That's the craziest thing.
I mean, I can see how that would affect some people. I think there's ways to deal with that without like setting cars on fire and shit. And
fucking up. You just reminded me of the irony of this. Like, boo! You're raising taxes on gas. Let me burn the thing I need gas for. How am I going to get to work? Oh, shit. I got to catch the bus.
Whatever happened to peaceful protest? I just gotta say, Daniel Bryan looks good with the title.
I feel like this is all a conspiracy by the Parisians to get rid of car notes. To get rid of car notes. Seriously. Think about it. They're burning their cars. They need the cars, and they need the gas to be cheap for their cars, right? Why are you burning your cars?
It's a mass conspiracy.
Mm-hmm. So, American people, you sit tired of your car notes, rally the troops and get them all to burn their cars. That gets rid of everything.
In this grand conspiracy, where does fucking on the balcony fit in? Like, how did that help?
That's just an aside. That's just a pleasurable aside right there, sir. Okay.
They took a break from the conspiracy.
Have fun.
But yeah, I saw it referenced somewhere in relation to all of this. The the trade war we've been doing with China. Mm-hmm. I think that the reason they referenced it was like, you have this impeachment threat looming. You've got the economy issue looming. All at like a bad time for President Trump, and they were referring to how the trade war hasn't gone over that well. And I just thought, so much of this dumb shit is self-inflicted. Like, we shouldn't have had a trade war with China like that in the first place. This is stupid.
Yeah.
Why does that have to be a problem? Self-inflicted wounds.
Yeah, but they felt the need, so.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you had a good thing going on with China for the most part. Kept them at bay. It's like, hey, your biggest creditor wasn't fucking with you. And then you opened your goddamn mouth, and then your biggest creditor was like, oh, really?
The funny thing is, as one of those articles referenced, one of Trump's big selling points that he's been selling himself on is the economy. Like, he can be whatever kind of asshole he wants as long as the economy is doing great. And he could say that because we were still, pumping out the record numbers pretty much from Obama's run. It's pretty much just leftovers from that. I'm sure that tax cut gave a little boot in, a little injection in the arm for some people, but some people, meaning like really rich fucking people, by the way, which I'm sure had a minor effect on the economy, but I don't think it's a good one long term. So it's like, the one thing he was really selling himself with is not panning out anymore.
Nope. So it's like, what are you doing? But it'll be interesting to see how this whole economic thing turns out. We've already been seeing effects. Like, we're starting to see a lot of companies talk about they're probably gonna have to close places over the past year. The latest Dick's Sporting Goods, which made a real interesting twist on their announcement, I might add. Dick's Sporting Goods made an announcement that they possibly will have to, believe it was 35,000 jobs may have to be cut because their sales aren't as high. You know why they said their sales aren't as high, sir?
Nope.
It says because people aren't buying guns and the anti-gun movement is causing their sales to go down.
What?
I shit you not. And I'll send you the article right now. But yes, because of the anti-gun environment, Dick's Sporting Goods is kind of failing.
So first of all, you're supposedly a sporting goods store. It's a little weird that so much of your sales are dependent on just guns. Secondly, that sucks, but I don't know what the point of saying that is. Isn't that how the market is supposed to work? When people don't want to buy your shit, they don't. And then the market changes. I don't know.
That's not true.
Maybe I'm not being
That's not
sympathetic
true.
enough, but
You're not. You're being a dick. How dare you say that?
I always hear these people on the right talk about the market like it's essentially Jesus, and they have all trusted in shit. Like, oh, this is part of how the market works. When people don't feel like buying shit anymore, some businesses will fail and other ones will rise, as people want to buy other
the
stuff.
article, I mean, it was a couple of weeks ago, but the article actually said that it's like, well, there's actually a weaker like trend to the market that probably is causing it as well. And in my personal opinion, I think nobody don't want to buy dicks. Seriously. If guns is dicks is and I keep saying dicks right now. So
I was really confused because you were like, nobody wants to buy dicks. I was like, what does that mean?
Yeah, and I was just like, God damn it. Nobody wants to buy from that place, okay? Because it's not a good sporting store, period.
Nobody wants to put their money in a dick. All right. This is the kind of highbrow humor you can expect.
I was just about to say, I guess bad dick isn't worth it, huh? Ladies, you know what I'm talking about.
I feel bad.
I know for them because you're trying to say it's for gun.
No, I mean, when I said I feel bad, what I meant was just the other day I was shitting on WWE for making like toilet humor shit, and we just spent like the last 2 minutes making dick jokes. So
no, I think we're about 2 to like 10 steps higher than Vince McMahon's humor. Okay,
it's funnier, yes, but still,
we're still on the intellectual scale. But yeah, no, I find it weird how they're trying to say these bans on guns and sensible gun laws are causing all of this stuff. It's like, hey, you know, you probably shouldn't be selling some of the guns that could possibly be used to murder lots of people. 2, you're a sporting goods store. Dick's isn't necessarily a hunting. It's not like your Cabela or what's it, Bass. So that's not necessarily your trait. Your trait is supposed to be on sporting goods.
I feel like I've only been in a Dick's place like once or twice, so I guess I don't even think of them as selling guns. So
yeah, when I saw that, I was like, they sell guns at Dick's? I've only been there twice in my life. I've never noticed guns.
I mean, I wouldn't think they were too out of place, but like, I don't think of Dick's as the gun store. Like, I wanted to get exactly. My first thought wouldn't be I'm going to that establishment. I don't know. I'm surprised that it supposedly matters that much for them, but it's certainly not good that people are losing their jobs. See,
to an aside, looking at Daniel Bryan's standby, Mustafa Ali makes me even more enraged that there's a 205 live.
It does seem kind of stupid.
It makes it very, very stupid. It makes it a very stupid. I hope this is why they're doing this, is to like show them that hey, this. You know, you're stupid for not having these dudes on the main roster, right? Right. Especially what Mustafa's doing right now. So yeah.
Maybe they'll dissolve the divisions and just like merge them into the 2 brands. Maybe that's why we see Lucha House Party on Raw.
That would be so good.
I mean, we have seen like Lucha House Party. We've seen Leo Rush. Like they've been suddenly appearing on the main roster again for some reason. So
yeah,
like without any real explanation for why they're suddenly back. Who knows?
Yeah, put them back, please, for the love of God.
But yeah, I felt the same way when I looked at Seth Rollins one day. I'm like, I wonder how much Seth Rollins weighs. Like, because he looks a lot like Mustafa Ali. I'm like, why does Seth get to be on the main roster as the IC champion, but Ali is never seen on TV? They're like the same fucking dude, except one is like Middle Eastern. So maybe that's the problem.
Right. Maybe that's why he's like, damn it, Trump's not going to allow this. We're friends, for God's sakes.
That's going to be some dope shit to watch.
Yo, I need Mustafa Ali now to be champion. just because.
He's the heart and soul of 205 Live.
His name is Mustafa Ali. That's all.
That dude is a pretty.
He's not even from a place where, like, well, no, he is actually. So yeah, that would piss Trump off. A Pakistani wrestling champion.
Isn't he from Detroit?
Well, yeah, he's American, but Trump don't see that. Trump will just know, hey, your family's from Pakistan.
I mean, yeah, he brown, and his wife wears the hijab or whatever. So.
I mean, no, his family's from Pakistan, and Trump's just going to be like, he's from Pakistan, even though this man was born in a place in Illinois I've never even heard of, which shows how American he is. Where's Bolingbrook, Illinois? Like, that's, if that ain't American, I don't know what is, but sure. And now I'm going to look up Seth Rollins to be just to see. I think Seth Rollins might outweigh him. So Seth Rollins outweigh him by about 30 pounds, but he's only 2 inches taller. So yeah, they generally the same guy, give or take, without the 30 pounds difference.
Plus, Seth does not have the weight restrictions, so that might be part of it.
Yeah, did you want to know what's funny? Because they call it 205 Live because of this restriction. You know how much Seth Rollins weigh? He's 17, so he's not that far from it. It's not like not to like 205 is that big of a bump from what you're allowing on the main roster. Get out of here, Vince. Anyway,
if you told Seth he had to come in at 205, he could easily do it.
Yeah, so. CrossFit Jesus, sure.
CrossFit Jesus. Shit. Sorry. Yeah, I know we're on a bit of a side, but I was trying to look up Daniel Bryan.
But yeah, the whole thing about the guns, it was just totally random. And this, again, going back to the economy, there's a lot of things going on with the economy right now. A lot of readjustments. I know, like how, your generation being blamed for brick and mortar stores going down and people not buying enough. So that's why all these companies, because you guys don't buy shit, which you proved today that ain't necessarily true. Millennials do buy shit. They just buy shit they want.
But you know what? Even that, why is that a problem? If we believe in the fucking market, then it's fine.
No, you're supposed to give them all your money. That shows your belief.
But the money is going places. Like, people buy shit online a lot, which is part of the reason stores are having trouble.
No, they're saying that you guys aren't buying enough.
Maybe not. Many of us are broke. I'm a little less broke, but still.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that they don't get. It's like a lot of people aren't making the money. Like, what was a great starting salary back in the day isn't a great starting salary anymore. And, the poverty line is kind of rising. Nobody wants to acknowledge it, but it's very much rising.
School is expensive as shit.
Yeah.
I'm never going to get away from this college debt.
Like, everybody's trying to get a degree. You start out in debt. You start out in thousands of dollars of debt, not just like a little bit, tens of thousands of dollars of debt.
I'll probably die with mine, but
most people probably will. Most people do. That's the sad part, but that's the thing. It's like, why would you not want to try to spend less? Because you can't really afford to spend more.
Depressing.
It's a very depressing. This is a very interesting take on the whole thing, but we'll see if we get
like, whenever I look at like my credit stuff and I see that number next to my student loans, I'm like, oh my god, I'm never gonna get rid of it. It's a big number.
It's ridiculous.
I'm having trouble reading, thinking about it. Anyway,
all right. So now to the main event of tonight. So we had an interesting day. Where Trump decided to have an in-office public meeting with Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and current House Minority Leader, probably soon to be House Majority Leader Nancy Pelosi.
I guess I was just going to call her the Majority Leader, but
well, she still has to be elected, and there's still some pushback. Some party. Me personally, I think she's going to end up getting it, and
I mean, she has to. No other name has really come up that's really viable.
Yeah, because all the other names that are worth, I think, getting it, I think would do better on the committees. Like she seems to be the more overarching person where she's good at delegation better than she is at focusing on one particular thing.
And I'm sure there's some people that don't like that I said that, but what other name can you even think of? Like,
and his name just came into my mind, and it just, oh gosh, the guy who's going to be in charge of the finance. Well, no, Maxine Waters is going to be in charge of finance. He's going to be in charge of the, I think, judicial committee. Oh, gosh, and his name comes up all the time, and it just went blank in my head. But he would be good. Ted Lieu,
not a strong enough name.
Ted Lieu has been, considered, things like that. But yeah, no, y'all stop. Nancy Pelosi is going to be his fucking, is going to be the fucking House Speaker. So just stop being mad. She do a great job, and she proved to you that she could do a great job. Today, at the time of this recording, well, not at the time of this recording, but the same day as this recording, Trump decided to have a meeting about his precious, precious wall. Well, it was really a meeting about avoiding government shutdown. So he met with Schumer and Pelosi publicly, and he tried to do his usual grandstanding thing. And Nancy Pelosi wasn't having that shit. And eventually Chuck Schumer got on board, was like, yeah, I'm not having that shit either. Because they literally came out and said, like, look, afterwards, Chuck Schumer was like, I didn't expect this to be so much as a reality show as he tried to make it to be. But they weren't having it in the reality TV show nonsense. And they calmly were trying to explain to him when eventually, once they couldn't calmly explain to the 6-year-old that they need to put in a plan in place to make sure the government maintains staying open. They have bipartisan agreement on a couple of plans, and that we need to act on one of these plans to ensure that people can continue to work throughout the rest of the year and throughout the beginning of next year. Trump wasn't having that. He was like, no, unless we have the wall, we need security. We need security. And they were like, we have security. You have all this stuff. We have stuff to put in place for more men, more fencing, better patrols and regulations, and all of that. We just don't want people out of jobs. But he couldn't hear that. And eventually Nancy Pelosi just kept putting him in this place to where he just looked like a frustrated, child who just couldn't get over the fact that he was not going to be able to buy that candy bar. It was glorious. It was glorious. It was sad too, because you shouldn't have to tell somebody who's supposedly the leader of the free world, how to behave and exactly how things should actually work and what's best for the nation. He should already have that on his mind as president, because that's what a president does. Right?
I will say, while I didn't watch this sit down, because as I
need to watch the sit down, god damn it.
I'll get to it. As I explained to Black before we got on, when I saw Trump sitting in a chair and knew he would say words, I was averse to this because I listened to Trump say words a lot. And for those of you guys who've never really sat down and watched him give talk for just 10, 15, 20 straight minutes, I would recommend doing it at least once to know why I have this apprehension built up. It's not just because I don't like him, I don't agree with him. I've listened to him a lot, and it is, if I was working in the military and I wanted to torture somebody, I would just make Trump talk to them for 10 minutes.
But no, it was so great because Nancy Pelosi was trying to explain to him, you're not going to get any votes in the House. And he was like, oh, if I really wanted the votes in the House, I get it. She was like, do it. And he kept saying, I could do it. She's like, do it. She just kept saying, do it. And he just kept trying to talk through it. So no, okay, you say you can do it. Do it. Go ahead. Do it now. She literally told him, go ahead right now, ask for the vote and do it now. Why? Because he didn't get it with the majority already, and he doesn't want to acknowledge that.
Which leads me to my second point. Schumer and Pelosi seem like what they're trying to do is actually do their job and make sure people are still working and the government is still functioning. And you can, they're trying to cut some kind of deals with this dude, and you can tell that that's just not really Trump's goal. Like, he doesn't really care very much if the government is shut down or not. The point is he wants what he wants, in this case, a wall. And no real diplomacy or anything is going to work with him, because for him, it isn't about making sure the government. I can't believe I'm saying this, but the president doesn't really give a shit if the government functions or not. That's not the point. Which is what I think people aren't getting, is that, why can't they find some way to work together to make sure the government keeps going? Because he doesn't care about that. They do not have a shared goal here. Schumer and Pelosi's goal is to make sure the government keeps going, and they're willing to work with Trump on some level. That is not Trump's goal, so they're always going to have this problem.
Because they both were specifically saying, we want to keep the government open. He was saying, I have no problem with the shutdown. Which one of those comments, people, do you think is beneficial to everybody? It ain't his. He's willing to put people out of work and to have them lose. God damn, I wish you would have hit that. Have them willing to lose, finances because he wants a goddamn wall. For what?
He's perfectly willing to accept those, because to him it's not a loss. So I don't know what you do about that problem, but I feel like we need to acknowledge that there is a complete difference in goals here. Because I think everybody's just assuming, as they probably ought to, that everybody here's main goal is to make sure the government is functioning. That is just not the case. Which is why he's I think I read a quote that said he would be proud to shut down the government over this.
Yeah.
I was like, of course he would, because he doesn't care if the government runs.
Yeah, you are proud to put people out of work and without a paycheck. Why is this a moment of pride for you? It makes no fucking sense. And by the way, shout out to Nancy Pelosi walking out with putting on the shades afterwards, looking like a G.
But even though I didn't watch it, it's weird how I'm not surprised that he would turn into a child over this, because when you don't actually have any good points, that's pretty much all you can do. Well,
yeah,
I mean, you can concede, I guess.
There's terrorists coming. They were like, well, yeah, we know. That's why we have the security stuff inside of here, to try to upgrade security. But we also want to keep people from losing their jobs or not being able to work and getting paid and the government to function. It's just like everything he would say was like, okay, but we also should want this, right? Like, idiot.
Even that, because the Democrats keep saying, we'll bump up security, whatever. They're willing to do that. Again, he doesn't care about security per se. He wants specifically the wall.
Yeah, it's not even about being secure. As long as he gets this wall. In his mind, he has no idea of which, again, shouldn't be president if you have no idea of the concept of security. Walls don't necessarily mean that you cannot be penetrated. I'm sorry. I can only think of one wall that a country had, and that was the Great Wall in China. Even that got broken through. And they spent hundreds of years building that.
Yeah, I was about to say the amount of effort it took them to build.
The amount of effort and the miles and that thing stretched, and they still got fucking invaded by the Mongols. So
I mean, it's pretty. You can see it from space,
right? But yeah. So don't start acting like walls are gonna be the end all be all. It makes no sense.
I mean, maybe if a Mexican horde came and tried to attack the wall, we'd have that problem. But in the modern era, if a horde started charging the border, we'd probably just bomb it.
Yeah, you don't need a wall. Like,
if that many people started to attack us, it wouldn't be a good day.
Nah, you wouldn't even need like more than one bomb. You can use a couple that'll just like take them out. Yeah.
But interesting times. He's
very interesting time.
About the wall.
Yeah, that's the thing that killed me about the whole thing. It's like you're still completely obsessed with this wall.
I guess you can say that he's still trying to deliver on campaign promises, which I guess in some way is admirable.
Our presidents would give up on the ghost and try to like go with new plans and strategies. That's the thing. In 2 years, like I can't wait for this like State of the Union address because I would like to see if he has any adjustment in it at all. Man is not adjusted.
All he's going to say is that the fucking Democrats didn't let us build the wall because they don't care about the country and they want illegals and terrorists to come in.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it's going to be.
Which I think is... he's in a no real lose situation here. Like, if he somehow got the money to build that fucking wall, which will never happen, but if he did, he would look like a hero to these people. And if he doesn't, he can just blame the Democrats. Even though I don't think Republicans are really supporting building a fucking wall either.
No, I don't think anybody wants that wall. He's just usually obsessed with the wall.
You know what he really wants is just to put Trump across the Mexican border. He wants to put his name on the Mexican side and make them look at his name across the border in big gold letters.
That's probably what it is.
And to do that, you need the wall.
You know what? He's trying to build a Trump Towers at the border. That's his goal. He wants a hotel at the border.
I bet that's how he pitched it too. He's like, it's like a Trump Tower, but it's on the side. And it's really long.
Like, if you want to come and you want to interior yourself while we vet you, you can do it at Trump Towers for a low price. Right here.
Don't bring your kids, though, because we'll take them. Ooh, dark humor.
Basically. I mean, did you say anything untrue?
That makes me wonder how that situation is going now, though. I don't know when the last time I got an update on the kids at the border situation was. And I feel bad that I haven't gone more out of my way to look into it.
Yeah, that's a good question. Had to check that.
Hopefully they're all with their families and super happy.
Yeah, okay.
A man can dream. All right.
Anyway, so one bombshell that happened as well is that John Kelly, the chief of staff, is going to be resigning at the end of the year. And Trump is going to need to find a replacement. Now, at the time of the news, Trump made this big, grandiose announcement that, hey, we already have someone in mind, and they're going to be great. It's going to be awesome. What's his name? Nick
Ayers,
who is actually the vice president's chief of staff currently, was said to be the top pick. Well, problems. He is resigning at the end of the year as well. So he declined the job, which has led to now a mad dash to find someone who can be Trump's new chief of staff. Now, the thing that's a biggest problem is that there's really not that many people out there who want the job.
What the fuck? Sorry.
Who are the people? I mean, it's true. They don't want to work with him.
They don't want to be the chief of staff. That's a hell of a position, man.
It's a high honor. But not of the many ones. Like I heard Steve Mnuchin been considered, but he's been said to be in background talks to say that he's not really interested. He would rather take another cabinet seat than to take a cabinet seat rather than to move into the Oval Office. Mike Mulvaney is another name that came up that has been known to say that he wouldn't take it if he was offered it. But now it's gotten so bad that we've gotten to a like kind of C list of like candidates. You have Representative Mark Meadows from North Carolina. You have the current acting Attorney General on that list, Matt Whitaker. And one surprise name thrown out there, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie.
I don't like how you're suggesting that Chris Christie is C-list. He should have been the first choice.
I think he's kind of probably D-list, to be quite honest. Honestly. And one other name is thrown in there is former Trump campaign manager David Bossie, who seems to be the one person who's really kind of, well, not really kind of, but has been more vocal to a point where it seems like he might be willing to take the job, which is sad.
Why do you have to say it like that? Willing to take the job?
Because this is what it seems to be. But this is the kind of thing is it has become under Trump a no-fly zone. So.
You make it sound like a punishment to have that job, which, I take it back. It is kind of a punishment currently to have that job.
You got to be in the office with that man for countless hours, and you have to give him advice on how to behave.
Most of which he will not take. So.
Right. It's a very it's probably the most thankless job you could imagine right now. Again, the tit for tat thing, a lot of people like to throw out the whole thing with Obama. Yeah. Obama had 5 different chiefs of staffs in 8 years. This is what, the 3rd in 2?
Man. It'd be pretty good.
So, yeah. I don't know what to say about this. Do you want the job?
I'd rather be unemployed. I can't imagine spending that much time with this dude, and he's not even really allowing me to do my job. I don't see the point in that.
Exactly.
That's and it takes anybody it touches, right? Like, I don't feel that Kelly is better off coming out of this than he is going in.
No, he went out of his past job as considered a distinguished general, even though he's had some hiccups in his past. He's kind of like respected. He came into this as a respected former general, and he's leaving out as. That's the sad part about it, and I think that's one of the reasons why nobody wants to take this, because to no fault really of Kelly's, he's going to leave out looking like a failure, like he had no clue what he was doing, because the guy who he worked for doesn't listen.
I mean, some of that shit is like, didn't we have that big story about him lying about what's her face once upon a time? Wow.
It was a while ago. I think I know what you're talking about.
Maxine Waters? Was it her? I can't even remember now. There's so much that goes on in this administration. But I mean, some of that stuff was on him. And I don't know. He didn't do himself any favors. So.
Yeah. He did himself the worst. He disparaged himself worse by taking the job in the first place. I would never take that job.
That happens to a lot of these people. Like they come out looking worse for wear.
Like, look at Mathis.
Yeah, look
Or
at him.
Flynn. Flynn is a full-fledged criminal now.
I think some of that stuff was happening before, but yeah, he's not been helped. Most people just get kicked out and they look stupid. I mean, you see Anthony Scaramucci on the news all the time, and he was just there for like 10 days. Like, no, I can't think of anybody who comes out of this looking particularly good.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to look up the list of White House chiefs of staff over this past. Let's see.
And part of the problem is a lot of them are just complicit in the things he does.
Yeah, so he has Rice Previs, and John Kelly. So this would be number 3. Who's number 4? Is the question. The question shouldn't be who's next, but who's going to be after that. And to be fair, John Kelly did a hell of a job. He stayed in for 496 days.
Okay, sure.
Because Reince Previous was only there for 190 days. God damn. Some bullshit. Because I'm looking over everything, like everybody talking about Obama's stuff. Okay. Obama has Rahm Emanuel, who stayed for 619 days. Peter Rouse is the shortest, 104 days. I wonder why he left.
Can we talk about how Seamus's hat allows his mohawk to stick out?
Who?
I'm sorry. That's an aside. I just find it amazing.
Oh, shit. How does he do that?
Like, he literally cut a slit into the hat so that his mohawk could stick out. That's just childish. Anyway.
I mean, hey, he got to keep it. Fuck that shit.
He could have just not wore the hat.
He's a boy. He has to.
But anybody who wants to be chief of staff, maybe now's the time to send in your resume. The field is wide open.
That's crazy. Okay, so some of this, like, about Obama's kind of fudging, because, like, one of the people, the Peter Rouse dude, the guy who was there only for 104 days, he was an intern. He was interim. He wasn't actually given the job. He was interim until Obama found his permit.
Okay, so by definition, he wasn't supposed to be there for a long time.
Yeah, he just took the job, I guess as a favor for
Which
Obama.
Didn't Ayers want
and
to be?
He also made history because he became the first Asian American chief of staff.
But interim, so he doesn't count.
I guess.
So we're still waiting for our first Asian.
Yeah, true. And see, one of these guys, he said he came through so he can help him with his re-election, and then he was like, "I'm out." After that, that was my commitment. Bill Daley, boom, he did his job. He got him reelected. It's funny because the 3 in the middle were the shortest, and out of that, it was just the interim that was actually short. The others made it 350 plus days. And then the last one, the 5th one, pretty much did Obama's whole fucking last 4 years.
I would be surprised to see somebody last 4 years.
Yeah, generally speaking, looking at this list, nobody does. Because I'm looking at Bush had 2. And in fact, Bush had one for his first term, 1 for his second term. Clinton had 4. Bush Sr. had 1, 2, 3, 4. No, this This is 3 for Bush for Bush Senior. 1, 2, 3, 4 for Reagan. 2 for Jimmy Carter. How about that? Donald Rumsfeld and Dick Cheney were both chiefs of staffs at one point. Both for Gerald Ford. Yeah, it seems like the only people who've had one were generally like one-term presidents. Any multi-term president had multiple ones, like no more than 2 for most. So he's already broke a precedent. This is the most that a one-term president, I guess, has had.
I don't think it's bad for them to switch. I mean, that's how jobs work. People leave jobs. People take those jobs.
Yeah. Holy shit.
I think the circumstances are really the problem.
Yeah. And this is the problem with Trump. The circumstances are just ridiculous.
And again, why is the defense we're just like Obama? Stop that shit. Either Obama's ass and you don't want to be like him, or he's not.
Yeah. Don't compare yourself to the thing that you said is horrible. That was bad for us. The thing that you were supposed to like save us from.
Supposed to drain the swamp, get rid of all the elites, do it right. How's all that going for you?
Better question is how is that going for us? That's the problem. How is it going for us, sir?
We're making history, man. We may not have had our first Asian chief of staff, but we've had our first Cheeto as president, so it works out. So good. All right. Was there anything else on the nightmare list today?
No, I got nothing. We're done.
I don't
Shenanigans.
have much to say about it, but I did start listening to Michelle Obama's book. It is charming, I guess.
I'm
not too deep into it.
Her sweet, sexy voice.
She does narrate it, which is interesting. I feel there have been parts of I feel like I'm being read to as like a child. She's just like reading to one of her kids.
Wasn't she a teacher at some point?
I don't remember. Probably.
So maybe that's it. That's fine. She can do that.
It's a nice little story of her life.
I know she was a lawyer. Yes.
No, I mean, yeah, she was a lawyer. I assume maybe she was. When you said that maybe she was a teacher at some point that I didn't know about. Also.
No, I mean like professor, not like school, like grade school.
Maybe.
I was thought she probably have been a professor. She was just a lawyer.
She's had a full life. Yeah. Most of what I've gone through in the book is just like her childhood going up through teenage years just into like college time now. So nothing too interesting from an adult standpoint.
Okay. Let me know when you get to the juicy stuff.
Gross.
Although you said talking about like the presidency stuff. Jesus, I'm not trying to find out about their sex life. Although didn't you say something about how he like asked her out or something? Like it was so slick or something like that.
Oh, did I never send that?
I don't think you sent it to me, but you mentioned it. You were like saying how you hate him for being so cool and so smooth.
Yes.
I mean, I would hate too, because like, God damn it, you're already a cool person. Now I know that you were cool before with your wife. You weren't awkward and fucking idiot like most of us are when it comes to meeting.
It was how he proposed, by the way.
Oh god! Could you please tell me how he proposed? I need to know.
I just sent the interview where she explained it, and
No, I need you to explain for all of us. So all of us, man. So I won't be the only guy in this situation being like, "Fuck this dude."
I don't remember it as clearly, but the way she had described it was, because they're both lawyers by trade, they're always arguing. And I guess at one point he was against the idea of marriage. So every time they would bring it up, he would have like a well put together argument for why it's not necessary and blah, blah, blah. And it always just turned into two like lawyers essentially going at it. And I guess one day they were like out to dinner or whatever. I think it was her birthday, if I'm remembering it right. It was one of their birthdays, and he just like unprovoked suddenly brought up this argument and got it to like a really heated point. And then all of a sudden proposed like right when she was angry. And then he said something like, "That ought to shut you up."
He got away with it.
So he purposely instigated this argument in order to like have the perfect moment to shut up with that proposal, which feels like the kind of dickishness I respect. But for those people who want to check her explain it out, it was on the Colbert Report, I believe. She did like a half-hour interview. I just set the 10-minute chunk where she explained it, but it was a cool interview.
I never saw that interview. I kind of now have to watch that and then be like, "Aw," then like, "Aw."
It was pretty recent because, like, I think this is all part of her, making the rounds because her book came out. So it's not that old, but it was good to listen to, and it kind of inspired me to like check out the book. And I'm like, yeah, so far it's so good. Even listening to parts about her childhood have been somewhat interesting. Like, she describes her parents as having essentially let the kids kind of solve their own problems. Like, if the kids were sassy toward an adult, they wouldn't really like step in and intervene. I guess her parents' attitude were essentially like the kids have to learn how to do shit themselves. So if they didn't like something, they had to pretty much deal with it for the most part, which I found interesting because I feel like a lot of parents, without really thinking about it, don't ever allow their children to try to resolve situations by themselves. Like, I can't remember where it was. I was listening to like this psychologist, I believe it was, talk one time, and he was describing. He asked the question at one point, and I hadn't really thought about it until I heard him say it. And he said something like, "How often do you leave kids alone without any adult supervision?" And I realized, like, I think for a lot of people, the answer is never. Like, they're never not without adults, right? They have their parents at home, at school. There's always an adult around, at least one. And it's pretty much like that. I don't know, at least until they're a teenager or something. There's rarely a case where there's no adult present. And his point was that you're depriving kids the opportunity to learn how to resolve their own shit. So imagine like two kids getting into an argument that maybe turns physical, right? Maybe you should just allow that to happen. Like, they should, on some level, be able to work through their problems and deal with it. But for a lot of kids, there's an adult waiting right there to step in and do it. Like, imagine, I don't know, if we had kids and like they were arguing or some shit, one of us would probably step in and tell one of them to like apologize or something. It's like, maybe we shouldn't do that. Like, maybe the kid should just learn to apologize on their own in their own situation. And Michelle Obama's book made me think of that. It's like, yeah, I kind of wish more parents were like that a little bit, where it's like, you don't have to tell your kids the answer all the time. Like, just let them kind of experience some of that shit. You should just step in when it's necessary. I can see all this shit because I don't have any kids, by the way. So,
yeah.
Because I have found issues like that interesting. Like I remember hearing about this one woman who she let her young child essentially like get on a train and like travel or whatever by himself one time, and it became this big fucking deal that she did that, even though the kid was fine. Like he did it. He felt a sense of accomplishment for doing it. Like nothing happened, but even just this notion about having a kid be alone for any period of time is just so foreign to people now. Even though if you go back in history long enough, it wasn't abnormal for kids to just kind of roam more freely. Fuck, I see it's still a bit in Jamaica now where like young kids will just kind of wander by themselves without any real adults.
But how young? Just curious.
Like 10?
Okay, yeah. Well, the thing is, it used to be like that. To a degree, it still is. I guess it depends on where you are and what communities you are. Because, like, yeah.
I feel like
I would say 8 and above, we would be, it was like, if not alone, just with other kids, but we would not have an adult to take us to the park. We would go to the park ourselves. You know what I mean?
I feel like I don't see that as much. And part of that is where I live because, like, in Florida, you know, you have to drive around to these places. To be fair.
Maybe that's what it is, yeah.
But even just, like, wandering around the neighborhoods, like, you never see kids just wandering by themselves.
Maybe it is not. Like, around here, it's common. Probably not as frequent as it maybe have been back in the past, but it's common here. Yeah, because I just remember, I do know what you're saying, though, because I do feel like there's a lot of, like, we don't go places unless it's with our parents type of deal.
Like trick-or-treating. Like, I can't remember the last time I saw a kid not with a parent. It's just not a thing.
Yeah, like, we used to just go in a group.
Right.
Like, it wasn't with a parent. It's like, yo, stay with your friends and...
Like in my adult life, I don't think I've ever had a kid come up to the door that was not accompanied by at least one parent.
You know, maybe that's the punishment of our generation, or like as our generation got older, because you used to hear the horror stories. That's why they always come up with the whole thing that the parents should check your candy, even back when I was a kid, because you'd hear the horror stories like, don't take an apple from that old man. You might put a razor blade in it, all that shit.
All those stories are bullshit, but like, I remember what book I'd read it in. Maybe it was The God Illusion. Somebody had made the point that, like, at some point a few decades ago, there was this big scare because I can't remember the story. Like, some kid
has happened, and I think weird stuff has happened. Like kids getting abducted or like chased.
Right. Like at one point there was like this big story that was big in the news where like I think this little girl got like abducted and like sexually abused and like killed.
Right.
And it became such a big thing that I think a lot of the parents started thinking that it was far more likely than it really was. So they just became far more protective. I remember even during my childhood, like when I rode my bike, I couldn't really go outside of my mother's vision. Kind of like when I was listening to Michelle Obama's book and like thinking of those other talks I'd heard, I'm like, yeah, I don't really remember a point in my life where I just was like outside of an adult's view for any real period of time.
Shit, my mom used to send me to the store to get shit for her. Like, fuck that, like, you can't be by yourself. Nah, I need some, like, grease. Go get some, like, oil so I can cook.
That just didn't happen with a lot of us. And that psychologist argument was just that, like, we're depriving the kids the opportunity to learn to do that type of shit. Because I remember after hearing a few of these things, listening to Micheal talk about her parents and how they just kind of let them do their own shit, I started like running through these thought experiments in my head, like, how would I deal with that situation? Because one of the things she mentioned was that she'd be like, she was very argumentative as a child, so she would like argue with these adults, for example.
She's a lawyer.
Right, and she made that point, and she was like, so she'd get into these arguments with adults. And I remember thinking, like, what would I do in that situation? Because I feel like my instinct is to say that you need to respect the adult and blah, blah, blah. But when I was listening to her describe that, I'm like, maybe that's not the right decision. Maybe we really should just let the kid talk as they please and let them suffer whatever consequences come with that. Like, maybe it wouldn't be right for me to try and moderate every conversation they have, even with adults. Like, just let them have it. If the adults get pissed off and yell back, fine. Like, I don't know. Just listening to the way that she described her parents' attitude toward him, like, yeah, that is an interesting way to go about it. And it didn't ruin Michelle Obama, as far as I know. So,
no, she turned out fine.
Again, I don't have any fucking kids, so I can't talk, but it just made me think we're so ready to guide children in every single moment that maybe we forget that they don't really need it. They can just stumble a little bit and then move on with their lives. But I rambled on enough about that. Again, I haven't gotten that deep into the book anyway.
Well, I would like to see if it's a recommendation from you. I mean, I know everybody's been touting it and celebrating it and all that, but I mean, I kind of want to hear from somebody who's not, it's like extremely enamored with just the Obamas, period. You know, it's good to have people who like, okay, I'm a fan, but I'm not a like stan.
I wish it had come out like before the Trump thing, because I was like, because she just sat like the way it's written, it just sounds so eloquent and it flows well for the most part. I'm like, oh my god, I miss having an adult who could speak English.
You don't like best
like, with like some word choice that actually feels like it came from an adult. Like, oh my god, I remember
best is the greatest like slogan ever, sir. Bite your tongue.
Ah, man. But I think that's all we got, right?
Yes, that is. Except for you have a new purchase.
Oh, yes.
So I won't feel like the only person who did something bad this day. Well, you didn't do anything bad. You actually did something really, really good for yourself. Tell the people what you got.
I felt bad about it because like I haven't really told anybody about this except for like a couple people at work who kind of helped convince me to buy it. So I, for some reason, ended up ordering a Nintendo Switch, guys. I don't know if Nintendo's going to shoot me for showing this on camera, but
no, they've loosened it up. It's fine.
I'm still expecting some like Japanese agents to like jump out through the window and like beat me up. But yeah, I got it. It came in at some point on Saturday, so I played it a little bit over the weekend. I've had work since then, so I haven't gotten to play it as much, but I am really enjoying this thing. Like I said, it's a handheld. It's would you call it a console?
People say it's a console because it does dock in and you can play it on your TV.
It's weird for me to call that as I hold it like this because it just reminds me of the old Game Boy Advance. It's bigger, obviously, but it reminds me of that in size.
I guess best term would be hybrid.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to call it a console because I use it as a handheld.
No, you can call it a console because I mean, the term used to be portable console.
Yeah.
So it fits.
Yeah, but it's sick. So I've got Smash for it. So I just love how portable and modular it is. So if you guys can see the controls here, you can just like snap these off at any given point. Sorry, it has a kickstand in the back, so if I wanted to lay it or make it stand up, I can play it like that and play with the controllers in hand because they're wireless.
I think that's one of the things that's really cool about it is that you can do that whole. Even if you don't want to like walk around carrying it, you got the kickstand, so you could just sit it on your desk.
Before we started, it was just like sitting on my desk and I was playing. It also comes with like this little station for the controller, so if I want to slide the controllers into it, I don't know if you guys can see that. I can I can slide the controllers down into it.
I can turn it
into like a regular controller. I played Mario Party with somebody at work, and we each had one of these, and you can actually turn it on the side. There's like little buttons here too. So you can play it like this. That's how we played Mario Party or whatever it was. We each had one of these little things and we just played it like this. So there's just like so many different ways you can mess around with it. Like Black mentioned, there's a little docking station. I don't have it in this room right now, even though I was using it yesterday. I have it. I think it's in my bedroom because I feel like playing there. But you pretty much just slide this part down in, and then there's a HDMI cord that connects. You can plug it into a monitor like this one, or I plugged into my TV in my bedroom, and you can just play it on the big screen. Obviously, like we were saying, it's a console, right? So it has online play. I was playing Smash Online. I got wrecked by some asshole just now before we started. But for the most part, I've been doing pretty well. Which I know I talked about the portability, but I really love that. Like I can just hop into an online game, whether it be on the TV, on the kickstand, or I can just slide these back in. Yesterday I was cooking in the kitchen. I just kind of brought it with me and like played a few matches as I waited for it to waited for the food.
That's actually dope.
Go on. And these were online matches too, so unfortunately I couldn't pause them. So I think at one point I almost burned something, but it was pretty good. We discovered yesterday that it has like a local wireless, at least for Smash. So,
oh wow!
If you have more than, I think it goes up to 4 for the local wireless. So what you do is you create a room.
Have a full match.
Yeah, you one player creates a room, and then like locally one of the other people can join it. Assuming it's over Bluetooth or something. So I was at work actually, and somebody else had theirs, and we played a couple matches during lunch. It kind of felt like, back in the day when I had the Game Boy Advance and we had to like connect up our wires to like battle with Pokemon and trade and shit, except it didn't need the wires. So we've really made some advances. But it was really good, like no lag or anything. Like it was smooth. We just hopped into the room. I beat his ass. I feel like he probably won a match or two. So you can just bring it all over. There's so many different ways to play it. So I still play Pokemon Go, and I was at a park a couple weeks ago, and somebody had the Pokemon game, and they actually gave me an item from the game to my app. So they're all kind of connected. It's really interesting.
Hold on, you said they're connected to you through your app?
Like, they had the Pokemon game, like Pokemon Eevee or whatever it is now. Mm-hmm. That's on the Switch, and I was on Pokemon Go, and like, you can connect to the Switch. And what I did was I traded them one of the Pokemon from Pokemon Go, and they gave me pretty much an item I wanted back. So I don't know exactly how the relationship works, but they link into each other somehow.
It's interesting.
Because what they gave me was like a little box, and when you activate it, this like Pokemon shows up that you can catch. So that was the point of me doing that trade.
I'm curious if you don't have the Pokemon, the Switch version of Pokemon.
Not yet. I was gonna buy it.
Curious if like the Pokemon that you caught through Go, if they can transfer over.
I'm sure they can. She has my Pokemon that I traded. Like it was just a shitty Pokemon.
All the ones that you can. I wonder if like you start out with like a full set of.
Oh, like, if I can just like at the start just.
Right.
Feed. Oh, that would be interesting.
Like break out all of your Pokemon that you've already caught and stuff.
Well, I remember. I don't know if it's still the case, but they used to have this little thing where like as a trainer, you were at a certain level, and if your Pokemon were like stronger than that level, then they wouldn't listen to you. So a lot of times they would just like, if you told them use this attack, they would just kind of ignore you or do whatever they want. So maybe I could give all my Pokemon to myself, but it's likely that they just wouldn't obey me. Because I remember that was the way that they got around that problem in the earlier games, is that your Pokemon were just kind of disobedient if they seemed to be above your level.
Bad Pokemon. Bet you they're better than the horse and Red Dead.
The horse never did anything wrong.
That horse did. I didn't do nothing to the horse.
Dog, you're an animal abuser, and it's really
I didn't touch the horse.
It's really fucked up that you're like that.
I stood by it, and I got video confirmation because I made a clip out of it that will be uploaded.
If a horse did anything wrong to you, it's pretty much deserved.
Whatever.
Yeah, but I was saying, like, I don't know what it was, like, spur of the moment, I decided I think it's because I got paid that day, and, like, I tried somebody else's Switch at work, and I'm like, this is kind of fucking awesome. And so I bought it, and then I was like, immediate regrets. So what I'm doing right now is just like not looking at my bank account for a few days.
Enjoy yourself. Sir. Too short not to have fun. Enjoy it. All the things that goes on in the world and in like our close proximity. You gotta have something.
I remember saying to somebody at work, I feel like after 10 years or so, I finally have to acknowledge that Nintendo did something right. Which makes me sound like a dick. But I thought their Wii was kind of dumb in a lot of ways. Their Wii was questionable. The GameCube was a flop.
Still love Nintendo, so.
I would say with the Switch, they killed it. Like, it performs great. The battery life is great. I can never make up my mind with what I want to do. Like, sometimes I'll be playing like this. I'm like, my hands feel too far apart. So then I'll just switch into this thing. Or I'll just hold them separately away from it. And just, play in this kind of mode here. Like this, with them not attached at all. I can never, like, make up my mind as to what I want to do that day.
So here's a good question. Are you going to get the online service?
I haven't.
Oh, so you did get it?
That's how I...
Oh, that's right. You can't play Smash without it, can you? It's so weird to hear someone say that. You can't play a Nintendo game.
Well, you can't play it online, at least.
Yeah.
You can play it locally, I guess. But, like, it's also only like $4, so...
Oh, you didn't get the yearly thing?
They offered me a trial or whatever, and my first reaction was, I have to pay for Nintendo Online? Who the fuck do these guys think they are? Like, you guys have not been, the pinnacle of online play this whole time. That wasn't you. I just remember being very offended that they would dare charge me for this.
Understandable.
So I just clicked like the trial button or whatever, and then I noticed, because after the trial is over, they charge you, and I looked, I'm like, it's only $3.99.
Yeah, I think for a year it's like $20.
So
something
that curbs some of my anger.
Yeah, you probably should just
cost way more.
20 for the year, because it's like, there'll be something within the year's time that you would go back to if you stop playing.
Maybe I shouldn't say the other services cost way more, but like it's certainly the cheapest.
No, it seems way more. I mean, they're both $60 a piece.
You're right. So I wasn't as offended anymore. So it had come out on it released on Friday, I think. There was like a period where some of the online matches were a little rough for me, but for the most part, they played pretty smoothly. I was kind of questioning how it would work on this because I'm like, this is a Game Boy. Like, it can't play online. But fuck me, it's done pretty well. Every once in a while, I'll have like a match that just suddenly turns laggy. But I'm blaming somebody else's internet on that.
Yeah, I mean, because that happens on the big boys, so...
Yeah, I couldn't hate on it because I heard some people bitching. I'm like, really? On launch day? Are we not used to the fact? Maybe Nintendo fans aren't used to the fact that online games suck.
I think they don't understand the concept. It's like, oh, you guys never really dealt with this, huh?
I mean, for me, it was like one day after launch. I'm like, I've had games way worse than this close to launch. Like,
I sometimes try to avoid playing games on launch just because of that bullshit. Like, it's like, fuck that.
It's like, clearly, you Nintendo guys have not gone through the shit yet.
Right.
Yeah, it is interesting. I had meant to get more games, but I think I said before we started, I was shocked and amazed to see that Nintendo games cost the same as like other games. When I paid $60 for Smash, I was like, what? Smash? You've been making Smash for like 50 years, man.
Well, the funny thing about that concept, though, is that from my perspective, at least, is that I remember when Nintendo was just like, and Sega at the time, were just the worst when I was growing up as a kid because it was whatever the fuck they wanted to charge you for a game. You know, I know y'all hate us old people saying it, but remember, we were paying like $80-$90 for The Legend of Zelda. And the difference in prices is only whether you got the gold cartridge or the regular plain standard Nintendo cartridge.
I mean, the cartridges were collector's items at the time, so.
Yeah, but you were still paying $80 just for
you're right.
Regular version.
You're right. Not wrong. Really? I think I was more surprised to see that Pokemon was $60. I'm offended by that. I'm still offended by that fact. There better be like a lot more to that game than I realize. Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu.
Yeah. No, they're sold separately, right?
What do you mean? No, the games?
The Eevee and the Pikachu.
Yeah.
So they're both $60.
When I look online, I see different deals. When I went to the store, it was like $60. Although maybe they were just being assholes.
So
like I never looked at them online.
What's the difference? Like, do you miss Pokemon if you get one or the other?
You know, it would be an easy way to solve this if I just looked in the online shop and see how much it costs. I don't know why I'm like Googling this shit because I downloaded these like digitally. I don't actually know how you put a game in this thing physically. Oh, there's a game card slot here. That's apparently probably where it goes. What am I looking for? Mystery. Pokemon. I don't see it under the recent list. Am I allowed to show this?
I'm looking at a Polygon article now because I need to know what's the difference.
Yeah, okay. I can show this, right? Like, nobody's going to shoot me. I don't know if it's going to, like, be a problem, or if you can see it, but it says $60.
$59.99. Oh, my.
Right? Like, I'm not imagining it. It definitely says $60.
Okay, so there are version exclusive Pokemon. So depending on which one you get certain Pokemon.
Oh yeah. But whenever the Pokemon games come out, there's usually like 2 or 3 versions of them.
No, but why is there so many that you get exclusive? Damn.
To make you buy multiple, I guess. Like the last time I played, one of them was like the Ruby Sapphire. So at the time it was like Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and then I think they had Emerald or something like that. And all 3 of them had like exclusives. So obviously I had to trade with other people to get the Pokemon that I couldn't get to.
Oh, but you could trade between the brands though. You don't have to buy the brand necessarily to get. You
don't have to, but people did.
Okay.
I remember one of them, like, I think I had like there was one where I had like Fire Red and Leaf Green, but like I didn't know anybody who had Leaf Green or something like that.
Because it looks like it's about 10, maybe 12 exclusives per brand. Like if you want an Ekans, you gotta get Eevee, but if you want a Sandshrew, you gotta get Pikachu.
The thing that kills me is that these are old ass Pokemon. These are like original Pokemon. That's ass, dude. But this feels weird how I'm like looking at an online shop on what is essentially a Game Boy Advance.
That's crazy. Oh, special moves are different too.
Anything to make you buy multiple. And to be fair, Nintendo fans will buy multiple. They don't give a fuck. Like, if it's a Nintendo thing, they're going to buy all of it that they can afford. I can't afford shit like them. So like after I realized that the games actually cost some legit money, I stopped at just Smash. I forgot I might get the other ones at some other point.
Oh, that's crazy, huh? I've never played Pokemon, so I wouldn't. Like, that's mad. You have to steal one of these Pokemon to get them? You basically got to kidnap a thing from its house, which is a mansion. lovely plush mansion to go out on the road with you, dirt boy.
You can see my nice one game that I've got downloaded onto this device.
Oh, that's the what do they call that?
Smash, bro.
No, I'm talking about the screen on, I guess, the desktop or whatever. What is it that they call it? Dashboard. The dashboard. That's the dashboard for them.
Yeah. I don't know if there's more to the setup. I haven't really tried to do that much with it.
Okay.
But I mean, I love just being able to plug my headphones into here and just like play it as this. I mean, I can always turn it up too, but I don't know. Sometimes I'll be like watching TV and I just want to hear this, so I'll just like take my earphones out of my phone and just plug it into the little jack at the top. It's got a lot of fun stuff going on. I'm sure some of which I haven't discovered yet. Like I did not know where to put games until just now.
Well, glad we were able to help you find that out. That's pretty cool, though.
I think it is telling that a lot of us don't have physical copies anymore.
I'm starting to wean myself off physical copies only because it looks like we may get to a point where it will become reasonable. Because my whole like thing against physical copies was, hey, you guys, we need to start pricing better, or at least make it so like when I do get the digital copy, it's worth it more. Like getting the $80 deal for the Spider-Man thing, physical only, was worth it to me because it got me all the DLC. But,
I just don't even think about it anymore. It didn't even occur to me that this thing could have physical copies until I saw it in the store, and even then I was like, I wonder what's in that box. Is it just like a redeem code or something? Like, why is it here?
Sometimes that's the thing. It's like it's becoming even increasingly more minimal, unless you're tied to some type of like pre-order bonus to get it in a store.
Yeah. Somebody at work said that they put their game in there, and I'm like, oh, you can have them physical. That's still a thing we do. All right.
Yeah.
I guess it's not the future yet.
No, I mean, I like having still the physical option though, but especially in these days where space is now becoming an issue with consoles, like having a 2 terabyte hard drive in a PlayStation 4. Wow, cool. Isn't much because that shit eaten up with games such as Red Dead and shit like that. All these open world games like want to take 80 spaces. Shit, these multiplayer games, fucking goddamn Battlefield 1 was like 100 gigabytes of space.
I was thinking about it for this because I realized at some point that like I don't even know how much memory this thing has. So like at some point I probably might be inclined to buy the physical copy. I'm somewhat curious to see what the physical version even looks like.
Right.
So that might be, as much shit as I'm talking, who knows? That might be a thing I do at some point. Although I'm sure this thing has like 10,000 terabytes, so I'm good. Probably, right? 10,000?
No. I don't even think they have a terabyte.
I was concerned about, like, you know what? It's a Nintendo game. Like, how much memory could it really take? Like, as much time as I've already spent in this game, it's not that complicated.
To be fair, yeah, they don't make a lot of 1080p or 4K games. So.
All right. But I am experiencing this now. Graphics are pretty good, too.
Yeah, me personally, as long as it could hit 720p, I don't care, because usually most models just upscale. And yeah, I'm just not like, if it's a sucky game, I don't care. I mean, My God, half the shit that you play on the computer, Binding with Isaac and shit like that, you cannot tell me that you're looking for graphics.
I will say there's definitely times where you want to dock it into a monitor. Like, I can play it like this, and I do often, but there's times where it's like, I can't see on this fucking map, dog. I just gotta dock this shit in and just wherever it is docked in. I gotta remember to charge this shit. Actually, we're like 3 of us at work, 4 of us at work are gonna do the local wireless shit, and I'm gonna like wreck them. So I should make sure my shit is at least charged.
Good luck with that. All right, let's stop rambling on your mighty purchase. Glad you got it. Enjoy it, sir. Enjoy Smash. Now I need you to do Twitch streams where you go on and you challenge everybody.
Can you even stream on this?
Yeah. Yeah. With the HDMI thing, it'll run through. Yeah.
Yeah. And apparently Nintendo isn't being assholes about it anymore, so.
No, a couple of people I know have been streaming, doing stuff.
The real problem is, though, that if I was to do that, you know there's going to be like some asshole that's just going to be like super good. And they're going to whip my ass on camera. Can't have that.
Go play Eurostrix boy, Shazam. He's decent, but he's not like World League.
That's why I haven't like streamed any of the Vive stuff. Because I know that's going to be the day where I just eat ass. So it's going to be there for the entire world to see. I'm going to discover some sort of weird performance anxiety. So,
I mean, if I can get over mine with the fucking karaoke, get over yours.
You still need to twerk for the kids. I'm just saying. Anyway,
I am not twerking for children. That's unacceptable. I've done many bad things in my life. That's not going to be one of them. Anyway, let's wrap this up. Again, guys, thank you. We appreciate your support. And again, sorry for the delay in the previous episode. Hopefully you guys will be all caught up and everything, and we'll be back on par with the uploading schedule, not just the recording schedule. Just hope I don't be a doofus this time around. Forget.
Good job, Vince.
I know. Remember, we're still doing Extra Life, so if you go over to my personal YouTube channel, The Black Magus, you can check that out, and you can click the link on any of my videos. You'll see the information for the charity within there, or you can just go to Extra Life and look up Black Magus. Oh, you don't need to look up Black Magus. Just go to extralife.org and donate to the Children's Miracle Network and help them continually smash their goal. I forgot where they were at right now. They're at a ridiculous number. Last I checked, it was something like 12 million, 13 million, something like that for the year.
Sounds like they're kicking ass, yeah.
But yeah, they're definitely
Did you get the email for that shirt?
Yeah.
Are you getting that shirt?
I have to get the shirt. It's the 10th anniversary shirt.
Okay. Because I wanted to get the shirt, but I feel like I'd feel better if somebody else got the shirt.
No, I'm going to get the shirt. I'm definitely going to get the shirt. Yeah, no, I'm going to upgrade and get the shirt. I want that shirt.
I can't be the only asshole to get this shirt.
No, I honestly, I have every shirt from the last 3 Extra Lives. So this will be my 4th t-shirt from them. So no, don't feel bad about getting it because I'm getting it.
All right.
It's always an honor for me to wear this shirt because I like wearing it. I wear it out in public even. Yeah.
I wasn't gonna, but then I saw the shirt. I'm like, that shirt's kind of fire though. Like,
no, they make good shirts. They do good shirts.
I never seen one before, so.
Yeah, I have to find a picture of my previous ones.
Yeah. But since I don't know if I can recommend. Yeah, fuck it. I'll give it an early recommendation because it's Micheal and I'm enjoying it enough that I keep listening to it. So I obviously don't regret the purchase yet. I was going to recommend Doomsday Clock though because I fucking love this story. And that's all I'm going to say about that. It's a DC story that's currently running. It's the I mean, you guys probably saw some shit about it if you care about comics at all. It's the Watchmen people coming into the DC universe. And this story is so fucking good. Jeff Johns is killing it.
He's gonna murder Rorschach this time.
Doomsday Clock and Heroes in Crisis. Read both of those. Those are great. Both DC things. We're not showing Marvel any love this week.
Because they got all the love they can get with like the record-breaking 24-hour views on the Avengers trailer.
I mean, we're talking Avengers, we're talking Captain Marvel, we're still waiting for that Spider-Man shit to come out. They don't need the love this week. Right now, we need to help DC out a little bit. So go read those 2 runs. They're currently still both going, so you can definitely catch up.
Yeah.
Batman also had a really crazy reveal last week, so do it. Especially you. Read these comics, man.
What?
You specifically. You need to read these comics.
Probably do. Yeah. I don't want to see Batman get abused anymore.
Oh. Don't read the last issue.
See?
You can read Superman. It's probably good. I haven't been reading it the last couple months.
Don't read the
probably
cool
good.
guy. Read the dork.
Look, man. The current writer seems to have it out for Batman, so I feel like the last 50 issues or so, you probably just shouldn't read.
Forget these last few years of Batman's life.
Because he's been...
No. It's sad.
Right. Check those out, guys. Anything else?
No, that is it. So once again, thank you guys for checking us out. All the links in the description for everything you want to find out about us. Hit us up with questions. Feel free. And we will see you next time on The Reason Reborn. Peace.